Good morning. My name is Georgina O'Toole, Chief Analyst and Partner at TechMarketView. And with me today is Michael Herron, Head of the UK&I at the Atos Group. First of all, many congratulations on the new role, Michael.
Thank you very much, Georgina. 7 weeks in and still going.
Well, I'm glad to see it. And lots of people, as you know, in the industry thought that you were pretty crazy for taking on this role at the time you did. So perhaps the first thing we should do is allow you to explain why you said a big fat yes to this particular challenge.
Yes, I think 3 points come to mind, Georgina. So first one, I always had a great deal of admiration and respect for Atos as a company and its people. I remember working alongside them on the floor plate with customers 10, 12, 15 years ago. And there was always something about the Atos people in terms of how they cared for their customers and how they cared for each other as well. So I was always admired Atos as a company. Secondly, I think part of it is in my character. So this whole running towards the fire, please. I think if there was an opportunity to move sideways somewhere to a firm that was doing very well, that would have been less interesting for me. But something that was a real challenge, I think definitely suited what I was looking for. And then third, yeah, you're right. I reckon about 80% of people thought I was very crazy, but there was 20% of people thought it was an absolutely fantastic opportunity. And some of those people are existing CEOs. And I remember I got a call from one of them where she said, "What a move. What a great opportunity you've got there to go and try and make a difference." And I'll never forget that conversation. But I think combination of all of the above, Georgina, it was definitely the right move, and I have no regrets at all. I'm thoroughly enjoying the journey.
And it looks like you very much feel part of the Atos family already.
Thank you.
I've known you quite a long time, and I sort of watched how you operated in your previous role as the lead on central government at CGI. And I think the one thing that struck me most about you was your ability to really build a very strong, dedicated, and very motivated team around you. So how will you take that experience and how will that impact how you take on this role at Atos now?
I think it's just part of me as a leader and how I approach leading teams. So all of that will come with me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something necessarily I've learned in a classroom or on a course. It's just developed over time. Um, I think I want to bring the whole people first leadership style to Atos, and I hope I've started on that already. I think contracts are important, but people deliver at the end of the day. So looking after them, embracing them, empowering them, and making sure that most of my day is spent trying to make my team as good as they can be, and likewise them doing the same with their teams. Putting people first is very important for me. Sometimes get some feedback that's it's not about people first. The most important things are the numbers, and maybe that's right, but it's people that deliver the numbers.
So I've always been told that the numbers follow if you get the rest right. So yeah. And actually, talking of numbers, I mean, it's great to see that since December, when the financial restructuring completed, some of the noise around Atos has died down a bit. And actually, when we looked at your Q4 results, the book-to-bill had improved by 9 points. It was up to 117% globally. So could you just tell us, maybe in your own words, what the strategic direction for Atos is going to be as we move through 2025?
So a few aspects. So we have a new global CEO and chairman, Philippe Sal. He's been very clear in the direction going forward. One of the key features of that is One Atos going forward. So we've got previously there were two parts of the firm with Everton and Tech Foundations, and now we're absolutely One Atos. And I think that gives a much clearer message to our people. And to our customers as well. So the One Atos theme is definitely front of center of our direction going forwards. Secondly, there's a huge drive around simplicity across the whole of the operations. So in time, you may see us make some decisions in terms of where we're operating globally and how we're operating as well. And I think maybe third, a big focus on profitable growth as opposed to growth. And maybe in the past, there may have been too much of a thirst for growth without the same focus on profitable growth. So making sure we're signing contracts that are good contracts for us and for our customers. So those three points, I think, Georgina, going forwards.
And in particular, can you talk a bit about perhaps what that means for you in the region you're operating in UK&I?
So all of those three things apply certainly to the UK, which is great. I think as we focus on profitable revenue and simplification, we may well seeing some right sizing and maybe some shrinkage in the short term on top line as we try and focus on quality revenues and not low profit engagements. And I think that's fine. I think that's sensible. I think in the UK, we may knowingly shrink the top line this year, but it gives me the opportunity to what I call fix the foundations of the house and get the basics right, get the profit up, make sure we're focusing on cash, not just top line, making sure we're of the right size and fit for purpose going forward. So I think there's definitely a theme of fixing the foundations this year and returning to growth next year.
During the whole of the part of the last period, what we've seen is employees and clients being really quite loyal to Atos over the last few years, I would say. And actually, if I look at the data, you can see your attrition rate has remained low, your CSAT scores have improved, your NPS is well above market average as well. And I think a lot of people looking on would be quite surprised that you've managed to maintain those sorts of stats during what's actually been quite a challenging period for the company that I think for employees has pushed a lot of them to their limits, to be honest. How do you think that's been achieved?
It's another of the reasons for joining, actually, is when I spotted the attrition rates during those very difficult times and the client retention rate. I'm kind of, to answer your question, I'm surprised, but not surprised. I think it's quite industry leading in terms of those retention rates with clients, and the attrition is at a good level. I think there's something in the water in Atos with the people. I think they are incredibly loyal to customers. I think they care a lot about each other. I think they genuinely believe in Atos as a brand and as a firm that we can do great things. So yes, I think there's been some financial difficulties. I think a lot of that comes down to leadership going forward, to making sure we're doing responsible things and running the business in the right way. But the day I turned up, when I knew that I had that level of customer loyalty and I had employees that really cared about what they did, and we've got some interesting tech and capability as well, I thought there's definitely something I can do with that.
That is a really good place to be starting. So then if we look ahead, one of the sort of themes in the market that we're seeing this year is the need for organizations to really understand their data, leverage it effectively, not just with the data from within their organizations, but actually more widely, maybe from their supply chain or even wider than that. And importantly, because they're also faced with significant business challenges at the moment, the macroeconomic environment is not great, the geopolitical instability we're seeing, they want to do that pretty quickly. They want to see results fast. So how do you think Atos can respond to that, and what do you think they can bring to the table?
Several things we can bring to the table, I think, Georgina. I mean, from a data and AI perspective, I tend to be slightly more focused at the moment on the data piece. I think going straight for AI, if your data isn't in order, I don't think will give the best return on investment for a client. So we're quite data focused in terms of getting that in order and making sure that's all structured and clean, because then I think you can get proper benefits from AI. So data is key. We've got a good proposition that we're building around what I call the IT continuum. So as I'm learning every day, there are Atos people that are quite happy with a screwdriver and a mainframe, right up to some very high-end work that we're doing with policing around data analytics and IoT in the rail industry, for example. So I've definitely got something to play with there, where I see the breadth of capability across what I call the IT continuum there.
Okay. So fixing foundations is a theme for you and for your clients as well, to enable them to leverage that data, which is great. So perhaps it would help anyone listening if you could just bring that to life a bit by highlighting some of these impressive client stories you've heard since you joined Atos.
Yeah, still learning, Georgina, but some great examples that I hear about every day. I had a briefing yesterday on some work we're doing for a digital twins for electricity and water companies. I continue to receive lots of stories about work we're doing in partnership with clients around everything to do with the CSR space, some STEM work that we were doing in collaboration with a government department. And I popped a post on LinkedIn yesterday about winning a Green Data Center of the Year award. And that's not just about our approach, that's about our technology that we use as well. And then third, just because my son was so interested in it, he's very into football. Someone came to see me yesterday and I asked what they did. And he said that him and the team were working on all the algorithms and data that work out all of the Premier League football fixtures, where they take place, when they're scheduled, gate attendance, revenue returns, and all the way through the National League as well. I did not know that we did that. And it was the interesting tech and use of data behind that I found fascinating. So I'm hearing new stories every day, but there's three that come to mind.
And I bet your son now wants you to take him to one of those football matches.
He does.
Obviously, nobody's perfect. So I am also interested in what you've learnt about Atos in terms of the challenges and what improvements you think could be made in the years ahead as well.
So great question. There's a lot to do. And as always, lots that needs to improve. Delivery in the main is fine. There's always pockets where contracts can be difficult. So my team now, I'm quite obsessed around delivery and making sure we're on top of that. I think that's our credibility that we must build on if we want to expand and grow going forwards. So I think there's definitely something around consistency of excellent delivery across the patch. I think there's something around that's this simplicity thing and capability and being a bit crisper with the propositions that we're taking to market and what we really, really stand for. And I'm making good progress on that, working that through. But again, that specificity piece, I think we could be a bit better at that in terms of defining what we really stand for and where we can make maximum difference to the client. So when I think about how my days are organised at the moment, quite a lot of the time are focused on those two areas, for example.
Now, over the years, there's one area that's really impressed me when I've tracked Atos, and that's your involvement in major sporting events like the Olympics. And what it's done is, I think, really showcased Atos's ability to build and manage resilient infrastructure, manage an onslaught of cybersecurity incidents throughout those events, and all at the same time innovating for the benefit of both spectators and participants throughout your involvement. I guess I'm just interested to know what's to come in the future.
Yeah, I've been learning hugely about that as well. It's fantastic what we're doing in that space. So what's to come? So we just finished the Invictus Games. We got the World Winter Games coming. We got the Football Euros. We got the Paralympic Swimming, Paralympic Athletics. And for me, I've started to work with a team of, we're really good at big sporting events, but the security and resilience and reliability of what we do at those big sporting events, how can we apply that to other big events that might not be of a sporting nature? There must be some transferability there that we can take to other events and customers.
Yeah, it's certainly great to showcase where you can operate when there's definitely no second chance and you don't want those bad headlines. So
Indeed.
So just to change tack slightly, one thing we have been seeing is a massive Trump-driven backlash against diversity, equity and inclusion in the United States. And a lot of people are questioning how leaders in the UK will respond to that within their own companies. So what's the picture in Atos?
Yeah, so good question. And I was asked that in my first all hands in week 3. In fact, it was a very popular topic and I was super, super clear in my response. Whilst other firms might be rowing back, in the UK and Ireland here in Atos, we're going to be rowing forwards. And I need to demonstrate how we're going to do that, because I'm a big protagonist of, I believe what you say because I see what you do. But we're re-establishing the networks that we had in place across all of Atos. Is now a board level agenda. So top down, we're setting the tone and the tempo. But I have to say, from a bottom up perspective, there's hundreds and hundreds of employees across Atos that care deeply about the topic as well. So, with the buy-in from the board and all of the momentum that I've got from people that care deeply about this, there's more than enough that we can do to row forward and continue to make improvements in this area.
And I can see a very strong people theme in everything you've said to me so far. So,
Thank you.
Right, Michael, we've now got to an interesting part of the session. We're going to do some rapid fire questions.
Oh, good.
Where I would like you to only give one word or at the maximum one sentence answers, please. I'm going to be very strict on you. So, are you ready?
Yes.
What's the craziest thing you've learned since becoming CEO in the UK?
Nothing crazy, just lots of inspirational, brilliant stories about the capability that we have and the great services we provide to our customers.
How would you describe your leadership style?
Fair, disciplined, bungee.
Bungee. I've never heard anyone describe themselves as bungee before. Okay. You've taken on a big job. So what do you do for fun?
Run.
That's not fun, but okay, I'll let you have it. And finally, what's the craziest thing you've ever done in your life? And I don't want you to give Theresa May's answer.
I'm quite a conservative chap, really, so I've not done many crazy things, but I have had something crazy happen to me. I did get knocked out by a cricket ball, which was hit by a footballer in the 1980s called John Barnes. And I woke up in a dizzy spell to be surrounded by John Barnes and then two other gentlemen called Luther Blissett and Graham Taylor, just to check that I was okay.
But you've never quite been the same since. And we'll leave it at that. Okay, so just before we wrap up, lucky for you, we're going to be meeting again in a few months' time for part 2 of this podcast. So as we close, I just wanted to ask you what you think the first question is that I should ask you the next time we meet.
You're still here then?
And on that note, I very much hope you are. I very much believe you will be. And I very much look forward to speaking to you again, Michael. Thank you.
Thank you, Georgina.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. And stay tuned for part 2 in a few months' time.